when it comes to Cardano, we have good news and we have bad news. And I want to start with the bad news first. Then I'm going to go step in the studio in a minute and I'm going to show you the good news. I have actually good news to give you prior to the real good news. That good news is the good news far outweighs the bad news. So let's talk about the bad news though. Let's get it out of the way. The bad news is this. If you look at Cardano, ADA's up like 30 some percent since its low, its most recent low after the SEC news. That's not that big of a move. Bitcoin from its bear market low is up like over 90%. Bitcoin really far outperforming Cardano. And if we just look at the ADA charts right now, and it's very obvious, ADA charts look terrible. So ADA is underperforming. The charts don't look good. That's the bad news. But that bad news is really the preface to, for me, as an ADA value investor, it's the preface of opportunity. It's what makes ADA such a good opportunity, in my opinion. And we've seen this before. We've been here before when it comes to Cardano. And that leads me to the good news. I want to show you the charts. So let's step into the studio and check out what ADA is actually doing right now. So here we are on the ADA daily chart. We're definitely going to zoom in on these charts. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles. We just opened a new candle like 20 minutes ago as I'm doing this video. 6 red candles on ADA on this daily chart, giving back most of those green gains we saw off of the XRP news. 6-hour chart, you can see me just speculating with a potential setup I'm actually going to talk about in this video. I'm really watching the CCV Smart Wave. We don't know if there's going to be a reversal. It's one thing that I'm watching, but I did spot something else on the CCV Smart Wave that I want to go over in the shorter term technical analysis, maybe the case for a bounce to the upside to at least test resistance. And by the way, everybody, if you want my CCV Smart Wave indicator, you can hit the link below. You can try it for free with Chart Prime. Go sign up with them, get all their indicators, and you can get the CCV Smart Wave. So let's start by talking about really the good news, because the good news that I want to talk about it doesn't really have anything to do with this short-term technical analysis that we're going to talk about and the targets and all that good stuff. But this is what I want to talk about, the good news. We talked about the bad news. ADA charts are ugly, right? Bear markets are ugly. We saw this in the last bear market. It's underperforming against Bitcoin. It is. Look at this. From this swing low that ADA had off the SEC news, ADA's up like, I said just over 30%, but it's around 40%. But you go to Bitcoin and we look at a Bitcoin chart. Let me change this to a Bitcoin chart. You can see Bitcoin up, look at that, around 90 some percent. And this swing low is all the way back here in November. You just look at this weekly chart in Bitcoin. Bitcoin just looks way more powerful than ADA. And that's kind of the bad news, right? That's the bad news picture. Let's go back and let's look at Bitcoin for a second in the last bear market. I want to show you something because now I'm going to pivot to the good news here in relation to ADA. That is to say, the last bear market low in 2018, you can see that. Around a year later or so, you can see December 2019, Bitcoin up from the low back here over 100%. Bitcoin just looking real nice with that higher low. Obviously, COVID came into play, but around a year later, in November, December 2019, Bitcoin was up over 100%. What was ADA doing? Check this out. Here's the bear market low in the last bear market, 2018. A year later, in 2019, ADA was up. I mean, it barely was even up. ADA was up 10, 20%. A year later, Bitcoin's up over 100%. ADA's up only. It had a pump, came all the way back down. Talk about an underperformer. Talk about an underachiever. At the time, that's what it appeared to be. And the chart looked, man, ADA's done. ADA is got nothing. It's a ghost chain. And what's funny is that was before Shelley, staking mechanism, multi-asset ledger, the Mary, hard fork, Alonzo, smart contracts, Vaso, scalability. Now here we are, and here's the good news, everybody. ADA's doing what it did last cycle. ADA's doing what it does. I say this a lot. ADA underperforms in bear markets, but guess what? In bull environments, in bull markets, and this is just the way that I see it, it overperforms. And so, yeah, ADA is not looking great against a chart like Bitcoin and maybe even other cryptos, but this is what ADA did last cycle. And it's just such an underdog time and time again. And I sit here after covering ADA for years, and we just had the opportunity to cover ADA in this last bull market. It was incredibly fun. I sit here and I'm equally as bullish, if not even more bullish. And you know why? It's not only just this piece of good news in terms of the charts. I read articles like this: Cardano regains its spot from Solana, but it's not all good news. Not all good news, everybody. And you want to know why? According to this article, though Cardano's price action looked better than Solana's, its on-chain metrics remain bearish. So its on-chain metrics remain bearish. That is so far from the truth. If we look at on-chain metrics, if we look at total value locked, if we look at what's happening on-chain in terms of DeFi and projects finally building, if you look at what's being solved with Cardano's EUTXO model alone and the innovation that's coming online right now prior to the next bull market, on-chain metrics, there's my daughter. There she is. On-chain metrics just signal the most bullish thing. But these articles, they make me even more bullish because this is what Cardano gets. And this is why it's the underdog, but this is also why I truly think this is a fuel to it. This is why ADA overperforms in bull markets and surprises. And I think it's going to happen again. And that's not to say from this level we're taking off, because that is certainly not the case. We have some time until the next Bitcoin halving. We have some time until when you go to something like a Bitcoin dominance chart. I just want to show you real quickly, and then we're going to do some short-term technical analysis. It's these green areas where the bull market is. Dominance on Bitcoin falls. ADA overperforms, right? So we can see this speculatively, this bull market all the way here, past the 2024 halving. But that's good because that gives us time to prepare. So let's go to ADA on the short term. Let's look at what's going on. So I mentioned the CCV Smart Wave. It's fun to watch this because it's a quicker moving momentum oscillator. You can actually see I got rid of my stock RSI, and we have this new ribbon built into the CCV Smart Wave. It's basically a stochastic, and it's a quicker moving thing, right? So you can just see ADA has definitely consolidated from that swing high. We even had this nice reversal signal. It's a divergence signal back here, hit real nice. ADA fell since then. We don't have any reversal signals in play right now, but what I can see is we're oversold. We're hitting the oversold, and I'm wondering if we're going to get a pop to the upside. You can see last time we got a little pop to the upside. It's nothing crazy back then. It was part of consolidation, but for ADA, can we start seeing a similar story play out? What would that look like? First things first, I'm kind of taking note of the fact that on the daily chart, you can see ADA kind of bounce off these moving averages. And actually, as I'm doing this video, you can see the 20-day moving average in green getting ready to cross above the 50-day moving average. Has it crossed? No. But whoa, those are just like, they're right there. It's getting ready to happen. This daily candle, not sure what's going to happen with it. Kind of important in that story. We get a nice green close on this daily candle. This could be the 20-day popping above the 50-day finally. That's a big move. But notice that area, if we get that bounce, right, playing into the case for ADA to make a move to the upside. You saw me kind of I had a messy chart at the beginning of the video because I was speculating. That is to say this: if ADA were to get this move to the upside, we already saw this resistance, right? Swing low, swing high to swing low, this Fibonacci resistance. That is what ADA has kind of played into so far. And you can kind of see it's charted just about there, right? We didn't chart the wick. I don't remember what chart we charted that on, but it didn't go down to the wick. But basically, this is a really big midterm resistance. We continually want to monitor to see ADA break above. But now that we have this structure setting up from this swing high on the shorter term, we have another Fibonacci that it's on my mind. And ADA has to get there first. But what that is, it's a swing high, the new swing high to the swing low so far. It would be nice if we see this support here at these moving averages and ADA does make a move to the upside. It's not guaranteed at all, but it would be ADA making a move to this Fibonacci here that you see on the screen. And what that looks like is this 30, we can call it 35 cents at the 618 to around 36 cents at the 786. And partly, I mean, it's really just going to be testing the previous high that ADA saw in this XRP run-up. Because this wick is so large, I mean, it's really going to have ADA just, if it tested the upper end of the channel, ADA could truly just test this entire area right around 36 to 37 cents. So if we get a move like that, if ADA is able to start seeing some upside to even just maybe the lower end of the Fibonacci at 35 cents, right? ADA finally might start putting in some structure. And that is to say, could it be a symmetrical triangle? Would it be more of an ascending triangle, right? What could structure look like for ADA? Could it be maybe a descending triangle of some sort? No idea. Part of what I like about technical analysis is the ability to speculate and watch how these things play out, because then we can really start kind of gauging, well, is this a bullish or bearish confirmation, what's setting up? And then in that case, if we do get the structure, which way is it breaking? I want to make a note of something. On this daily chart, if we don't get a move to the upside, right? If we don't get that move, well, then these moving averages, this is a very key area we need to monitor for support. And it's like a penny below where ADA is. It's not a very big move for ADA to very simply fall below that area. And then we're looking at this trend line around 29 cents as kind of this fail-safe support before we actually break this trend, this higher low trend that ADA has been in since June when we had this huge fall off, right? So we kind of want to see crypto markets, ADA in general, make some type of push to the upside to get some separation from just this entire structure that's trying to form here, these higher lows. We want to see continued separation from that. So generally, obviously, we want to see a breakout for ADA, but there's resistance that we have to monitor on the shorter term in order for that to happen. So I'll be watching the momentum, the CCV Smart Wave momentum oscillator, but I'll also be watching the chart prime wave band. This is a wave band I'm going to be watching if we get a breakout to the upside. We talk about all the resistance that was here. If ADA just breaks out, if cryptos break out, I'm kind of curious about this upper part of the band. You can see it's been extremely accurate in kind of identifying resistance. But for me, as we're looking for a macro pivot out of the bear market, there's going to be a time, and if we zoom out all the way on this ADA chart, there's going to be a time when ADA really just starts catapulting into the upper end of this red band, pulling into moving averages, catapulting into the red band again. And that's kind of an environment. I don't think it's something to really anticipate so much on the short term, but it's something that's going to be continually on my mind. I'm going to be continually watching this for ADA, these explosive moves into that red band. In the case, to the flip side, I should just mention this. If this support, this higher low support we were talking about fails, once again, we'd be looking for some type of support. And just like the inverse of this red band as resistance, this green band down here has done a phenomenal job of kind of this area where ADA gets oversold, falling into that range and creates a lot of opportunity. And as we start getting closer to the next bull cycle, I think these bands, these chart prime bands, are going to be really useful to kind of monitor and track, especially when we get in these parabolic environments. It's kind of like, all right, reel in the emotion. We're touching this red band. Things are getting overbought. Things are getting crazy. There's too much FOMO. And then boom, what happens? We kind of consolidate. So it really just hones in the emotion, those bands. And that's one reason I like those bands. So you can get those bands as well. Try them out in the link below with Chart Prime. And that's it, everybody. That's the good news and the bad news. This is just how I see things, how I see the charts. I appreciate you cruising through. I hope you're having a great week so far. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because we're just getting started. I've been doing these videos almost 6 years, but we're just getting started. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.